And the next thing we hear is this loud crashing sound. Well, I get up and I look out the window and I see what's going on. I don't say anything. I get up and I run down the steps out that front door. And I am giving these people a piece of my mind. My older sister had to come out and was trying to restrain me. And actually, I think she went back in and told my mom and said, you need to come out here and get the crafty cub because he's getting ready to rip, I'll say her first name, Patty, rip Patty's head off. So what happened was, so we had a neighbor. We had a neighbor who, we had two Patties. They were both pieces of work. We had a neighbor who, they had two daughters. And they were like, well, the oldest one was probably 11, 12 at the time. And these neighbors, the adults, had an issue with drinking and maybe drugs. And Patty had been drinking. They were out running errands or whatever they were doing. And they had a minivan. And Patty didn't want to drive. So she had her 11-year-old daughter drive the van home. And coming down the road, and again, this is in a residential neighborhood, so it's not like a major road. There are no markings. There are no like lines on the road. It's all residential. So it's a purpose-built community. So and they lived at the end of this dead-end street. So they had to come down and they had to make a left. And I'm going to shut off the ad while I'm telling the story. They had to make a left to keep going. Well, the 11-year-old turned and kept turning, and we had our front of our house was here. We had yard here and on the side, on this corner, and our backyard was technically on the side of the house. It was weird. Anyway, we had a 6-foot tall stockade fence, and she turned and kept turning and ran into the fence and destroyed half the fence, and ran in behind the fence was my father's bass boat. At the time, my parents were going through separation and then eventually divorce, and we didn't, at the time, I didn't, and my mom didn't really care too much about the boat, and so I ran out, and I was that close to this woman, yelling at her, saying words that a 14-year-old should never say, but as you know, 14-year-olds know those words, and I could smell the alcohol in her breath. The next thing I know, my mom came out and was physically pulling me away from Patty and told me to go in the house. That's all I remember. So, yeah. Why don't we get on this topic? I don't remember, but the crafty cub almost tore off an adult's head when I was a teenager. I wasn't yelling at the girl, even though the girl was a piece of work herself. But, yeah. So don't let your 11-year-old drive your van home when you're drunk. Catch my stream tomorrow night. Ask about fights. Yes, I will have to ask about the fights. Oh, that reminds me. I was in somebody's stream, and I don't remember whose stream it was. And the next time, I was in Tatter stream. The next time I'm in stream, ask about the story with my brother in Canada. So when we get back from our ad, we're going to have an ad coming up in a few minutes. I'm going to wait for that. And I will tell you the story. It's not my story. It's my brother's story about Canada. Anyway. You didn't know you're going to get amigurumi and stories from the Crafty Cub's past. Where am I? Round 20. Yes, I will definitely have to ask you about your fights. I never really got into fights as a kid. Between my siblings. After a brief word from our sponsor, yes. I can remember that that day like it was yesterday. Yeah. They were, and I didn't tell the rest of the story. So afterwards, call the police or whatever. And again, I wasn't around for this part. If Grammy ETC is around, she could probably tell it better. Um, Police showed up, and um, she was talking to the police, and the father of this girl that was driving the van walked up walked up the street and was trying to like smooth things over and saying, "Oh, Grammy, we've been best friends or whatever." That's not true. Never was true. And was trying to smooth it over. And Grammy took the cop aside and said, "Heads up, um, this guy's the father, the father of this girl who was driving. The father's brother was a county police officer and didn't want to end up getting pushed aside and with favoritism and all. I don't know what that happened with it. I don't remember all the details because I was not a part of that. So that is round 20. Finish the head. Okay, I am going to since the since this neck is very thin, I am going to finish the I'm going to stuff the head on this one. I'm going to stuff this. But yeah, in about a minute or so, we are going to have an ad. When we get back from ad, I will tell you my brother's Canada story. You don't want to miss that one. I should have a segment of my stream, Story Time with Cub. Story Time's all, yes, yes. We can bring the music back. Don't feel like I have stories, and then you do, and yeah. Oh, I'm like that too. I never think I have a story, and then, oh yeah, I remember this. I remember that. We all have stories. And we're getting again. I don't know how you can't really see it. I had to choose dark yarn, didn't I? But again, I didn't want a bright purple or bright blue kitsune. Wish I would have had that orangey brown color, but didn't have enough of it. I really need to go through the rest of my yarn, take inventory of some of the things I have. All right, while we're at ad, I am going to take a quick bio break. I'm not going to go and switch scenes or anything. Then when we get back, I can do rounds 21 through, what do we say, 35? We're almost, well, we're halfway done. More than halfway done. But yeah, I'll be right back, everyone. Alrighty, I'm back. Ads are still going. Alright, that was round 20. Okay, what do we need to do? Okay, that I can do. Alright, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Let me catch up with chat. Com with a giant champagne cork destroying. Yes, I've seen that commercial. Seen that ad. Disney Plus with Star Wars: The Acolyte. Those are your ads. Geico people having an accordion battle. I haven't seen that one. Bruno with a dog getting ready for a therapy appointment, but showing like a video game. I don't remember that one. Toyota Tacoma with driving everywhere. Predator games, and then Intel. 6 ads, and now you're back. Welcome back. Speaking of ads, a while ago in multiple streams, and I've talked about this before, in multiple streams at different times, I would get ads for Depends on undergarments, and then in the same ad break, an ad for Cologuard. Cologuard is a thing you can ask your doctor. It's basically a kit, a box, and it's to screen for colon cancer. So basically, this is 18 plus. You shit in a box and you send it off, and they analyze it for markers for possible colon cancer. So I don't know why Twitch was so worried about my rear end. Hey there, Kaya Rose. How are you? Welcome in. But yeah, I haven't had those ads in a while. I think they've had enough of my rear end. Where was I? Oh, we were going to tell a story. We're going to tell the story. I'm poor. I can barely feed my family and my service dog, so no turbo. Been sitting for a lurk. Well, thank you. Thank you for the lurk. Welcome in. I am the Crafty Cub. We do fiber arts here, mostly crochet. I am trying to work and make a kitsune, a Japanese fox spirit. I don't have the right colored yarn for it, but I make do with what I have, and I think I have enough for all of this. So we were telling stories. I told a story about when I was going to rip a drunk woman's head off for letting her preteen daughter drive and running into our fence, and my brother's story with Canada. So this was probably 2004. It's 2004, 2005, somewhere around there. This was after 9/11, but before you had to have all of the documentation that you need now to go from the US to Canada. Because back then, all you needed was your driver's license. You didn't need, I don't even know what you need now. So at the time, my brother was in his early 20s. He had a brand new 2004 Ford Mustang. And he was sitting around with one of his good friends, and they were looking at, my brother's a big car motorhead. Not really a motorhead, but he's into cars. He's not into like souped up cars, really. He's like fixing cars, that type of thing. That's what he does for a living. So they're sitting around looking at car magazines, and I don't know, one of them said, "Have you ever been to Detroit?" And the other one said, "No." Well, Detroit is the car capital of the United States, where a lot of American cars are headquartered, but the American car companies are headquartered. So, Motor City, yes. And we live in Maryland, so we live kind of near Washington, D.C., Baltimore area. So, they got up, got in the Mustang, and drove to Detroit, which is not around the corner. that's a good distance. I mean, I don't know how far away it is, but that's many states away. Like, yeah. So they get to Detroit, and no offense to anybody who lives in Detroit, this is what they said. They said at the time that there's really nothing there. Were not impressed, and they looked at the map and they saw that Canada was really like literally right across the border, and neither one of them had been to Canada. So they crossed the bridge into Canada, and so they're in like that southern part of Ontario where it kind of sticks down to the Great Lakes. And we're driving through, stopped and got something to eat, and then drove all the way to Niagara Falls area, and we're coming back into the US. So getting into Canada was fine. Getting back into the US, they were asking them this whole long list of questions. How long were you here? We were only here for a short amount of time, however many hours. Why were you here? Because they got two young kids in a brand new Ford Mustang, and you're only in Canada for only a few hours. That looks a little suspicious. Like you're coming in from one entry point and going through the other. And so they were asking all these questions. They were thinking that it might have been smuggling or something. It wasn't. So they detained him for however long. Finally, they let them go. And my brother says he was never so happy to see the United States flag that he was finally in the United States. Again, nothing wrong with Canada. Going into Canada was fine. It was coming back. Because what can happen, if they suspect any foul hanky-panky or whatever, they could tear apart your whole car, and then afterwards leave it there, and you'd have to figure out how to put it back together or get your stuff back together. So, yes, he could have had his car torn apart. Yep. Didn't happen, but yeah. But yeah, they were in Detroit, and they basically went to Canada for dinner. I don't know what they had. I don't know if they had anything that was specifically Canadian. My dad had his classic 73 car pulled apart. Ooh. Oh no. Oh no, that sucks. Where am I? So 21. One in the next, and then increase. Okay. Gotta pay attention to this to find my stitch. Same type of situation is only across the border for a short time. Yes. I mean, it can look suspicious. So I get that for the border guard, the border agents. I get that, but oh, and that's another thing. That's another thing. They looked at it and they saw that it was two young guys in a brand new that's what it was, brand new Mustang, and they were asking him like, "Whose car is this?" And he's like, "Mine." "How do you afford it?" "I work." And they were like, and my brother did work and save up a lot for that car, and um, they were also like, "Okay, this is from Maryland. This is from Maryland, not anywhere close to the border." Like, yes, they actually asked that. Yeah. But yeah, Maryland is not a state that borders Canada. Like, we're not close. I mean, even any part of the state isn't real close to Canada. You have to go a bit to get there. I mean, we're not like super far away like Florida, but yes, he was like, "I work for it." But yeah, it did look suspicious if you think about it. I mean, it'd be a different story if it was like a car from And if their address, if their ID, if they were from like the Detroit area or the Niagara Falls, Buffalo, Buffalo, New York area, because you're real close. But no, nowhere near there. So that was 21. So 22, two, next, okay. Oh, I'll have to check that in 1 second. There's a wall of text there, Supreme. Went to the States when I was in Sault Ste. Marie for a wedding. We didn't really have Taco Bell in Canada so much at that time. We crossed to get some Taco Bell. On our way back in, they asked what we did. We said, went to Taco Bell. There were 3 vehicles that went over. The customs officer got a bit of a chuckle. He had never heard that reason before. let 3 times in a row. We were the third to go through. Okay, I can understand. Me catch. Can understand if you didn't have Taco Bell and it was a novelty, but I grew up. Well, we didn't really have Taco Bell a lot when I was real little, but when I was more like a middle school age, that's when it became more popular here. And again, I'm used to it. So from my point of view, it ain't really all that. But I can understand why you would want to go. Not really chatty. I'm determined to try to get this border complete. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, you're doing corner to corner. Very cool. Very, very cool. No, that's fine. That's fine if you're just lurking. And we were all decked out in wedding clothes. Fancy, yes. Actually, I never had Taco Bell, and I never had Taco Bell that tasted that good since. Yeah, at one time, Taco Bell was okay. I can't eat Taco Bell because of reasons I'm not going to get into it. But yeah, it doesn't sit well with me. It does not sit well. And it's not even real Mexican food. It's Americanized version of Mexican, like we do with every other nationality. We take it and we ruin it. And but there are other much better Mexican or Tex-Mex restaurants in my area, and we have had homemade really good Tex-Mex. What I missed, Peanut decided to wrap needed to wrap your apartment. Uh oh. What were we talking about? We're talking about young kids driving brand new Mustangs into Canada for a short amount of time. Taco going to the U.S. just for Taco Bell. I think that's what you missed. 23. Oh, okay. So 23 through 27, I don't have to count. Those, I gotta remember my stitch marker. Oh, speaking of stitch marker, so Supreme, if you have stitch markers, are they this type? Are they the type that look like safety pins that actually lock? That latches like a safety pin? Or are they this type that are just like a little curly Q? I would recommend that type because they lock and they're not going to slip out as easy. This type are good because you can put them in and out really easy, but they can work their way out. And that goes for anybody. That goes for anybody, not just Supreme. Can't find your stitch markers that look like safety pin. Okay. Again, you don't have to use a stitch marker. You don't have to use a purpose-built one. You can use whatever you have at hand to mark that stitch. Bought them for no reason a few months ago. Hey, well, they're going to come in handy between you and ship. And they're kind of cute. They're kind of cute looking. And if you are use paperclip, paperclip is great. They are great. Many years ago, not that far back, they didn't have really like purpose-built stitch markers. You used whatever you had. You didn't actually go out and buy something like that. You made use of it. I have stitch markers that clip like yours. Oh yes, the light bulb shapes. Yes. But if you follow Bray Crochet, and I kind of agree with. I kind of like this too. She loves crochet and sewing and all those types of notions. Even, I think she even likes stationary notions. I think, and like pens, and I think. But I know especially crochet and knitting type little accoutrement. How's that for a word? That was 23. We have to go to 27. Because I think when I showed her my pin cushion with all of my pins and needles, she really liked that. And then I think I sent her a whole bunch of pictures of all of my notions and hooks and stuff. It's working, but there's a bit burr on the end. You're catching. Oh yeah, you're going from the outside in. It's gonna leave in. Yeah, you gotta keep that in mind. Yes, very French. So when do the kids? Oh yes, Supreme. When does your kids start taking up crocheting? Maybe Ship can teach them. No, no, not saying that's a bad idea because Ship is actually doing really good. You gotta head to bed. Okay, no, I understand. It is late. It is 11 o'clock here. But yes, if you need to get some sleep, I will chat with you later. But yes, try teaching my daughter. She wasn't interested. Oh, hey, it's not for everybody. Not for everybody. But yes, get some sleep, and I will chat with you later. Um, Many hobbies of their own. Yeah, row 9. Supreme, you're using my chat as your remind you later. Actually, okay, you know what, Supreme? I will. I can do that. Okay, look, I'm writing here. Excuse my handwriting. Supreme, row 9. I wrote a note. Can you pin? Can you pin it and don't straight? Actually, I can pin it, and it'll stay up there until I take it down, like the one that's there. Actually, you know what? Let's do that. It's pinned. It's pinned until till I manually take it down. So you know, I don't even have to remind you.